I'm going live tonight. This is one of the first time. I'm telling you, I'm a little nervous, but y'all chime in. That's going to be great. I appreciate it. But yeah, this is live. This is not recorded. This is live. So I want y'all to kind of hit me up, support me in this. And here we go. So I've been trying to stay out of this conversation because I've been seeing different things online. But I recently ran across an interview with Michelle Obama and Tracy Ellis Ross. And I know y'all may know who this is. I think she used to be in this show called, she was in one of the stars, Girlfriend. She played a lot of women. She was Diana Ross's daughter, right? And what really struck out is how she, as a 52-year-old woman, trying to pursue and date younger men, right? And, ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing really wrong with that, to be honest with you. But it was the reason why she said it, right? I want to go with the first reason she said it, right? And y'all I'm gonna tie my whole conversation in today, right? With something that's why I'm saying I've been trying to stay out of this conversation because I thought the conversation was stupid, right? Let people do what people do, right? That's what it really comes down to. But there's this whole conversation about older men pursuing younger women, right? So when Tracy Ellis Ross says, President Obama asked her, well, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? He said, well, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? One of the first things she said, because I can, right? Well, that was the real answer, right? Then she start talking about some toxic masculinity and all this old type of craziness there, you know what I mean? But, everybody needs some type of labels to put out there nowadays. But yeah, she said, this is why she did it, because she could. And to be honest with you, she can. I understand. I can't see her, but she's kind of big. She's probably the eyes a little bit bigger for me, but she's relatively an attractive woman. She's an older woman, but she doesn't look her age, apparently, right? And so maybe she can pursue some younger men. But it was the reasoning that she said that really seemed like a double standard with women who are talking about men who are pursuing younger women. They start talking about men who are older start pursuing younger women who all their life they really hadn't taken on the aspect of being serious about a woman. They don't have any kids. They're like in their 40s or late 40s, early 50s. They don't have any kids. Then they start talking about they're ready to settle down, right? So I've been seeing this kind of online a little bit. It's more noise. But then when I saw the situation with Tracy Ellis Ross and how it was being applauded, I'm like, damn, ain't that a double standard? You know what I mean? So it's okay if a woman now do it, and then if a man do it, like her contingency situation was younger men give her energy. She gets the energy. She doesn't get held into the stereotypes of toxic masculinity that they have, the creative mindset and all that, right? So, she's a vampire at this point. She's sucking up the blood of youth. Okay, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? That's where she's at. That's where she's at. But then some people are applauding it, right? And then what they say for men who do it, right? Now, granted, I'm going to say something to you brothers with this now, because I think there is some truth in some of the things that's being said. And I want us to really look at this situation because as a person who's been counseling couples for many, many, many years, right? And I've counseled all type of couples, some with, women who are older, men who are younger, some with men who are older, women who are younger, some right there the same age range. And all I've been able to do it, some with different mindsets, different backgrounds, different, there's a variety of different things that bring people together. A lot of times people say opposites attract, all right? But when I hear women say that a man is only looking for, let's get this, all right, here it comes. A man is only looking for a nurse or somebody to take care of him when he gets older, right? That kind of, that kind of, it's a little bit, that's a fallacy in a sense, right? Because let's just be honest, most men, and I can give you an array of men who've done this, right? Even though they was much younger, Jay-Z and Beyonce. There's a difference in their age. Rhonda Isley and Candy Isley. There's a wide difference in their age, right? Marcus Houston and his wife. She ain't even 20 yet, and he's damn near he's 40. And so but those are men with means, right? And I've been able to be in a position of counseling various different men. Being able to coach and counsel various different men who, for the most part, are a little older than the woman that they're with. They're in pretty good shape, right? They're making some money. They're a little well off, right? So it ain't like this Joe Blow sitting there on the corner up there, and he wastes his life away, who's pursuing, and there's somebody for everybody, right? Now there's somebody for everybody. And for some of the younger women who then turn these older men down, okay, that's your prerogative. He's shooting at you because he feel like he can. Just like, there was this phenomenon in the Muslim community some years ago, and probably still like what's going on now. Everybody was running to Morocco, getting a wife, right? Everybody running to Morocco, right? Or everybody somewhere running to Africa, getting a wife. And so a lot of women, why you gonna treat them better, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, But a lot of times, a lot of those guys were able to do that. That's why they did it. Because they were able to do it. It wasn't, sometimes they go, well, sometimes, women, American women, black women, they be doing this and that. Okay, I'm going to get into the same fallacy that Tracy Ellis Ross said. I'm going to call it a fallacy because there's, I don't really go for the toxic situation. Maybe some high conflict personalities might be going on. But I'm not going to really just go for the toxic situation. Right? I just think that's a very overused phrase, right? It's a very overused phrase, right? And some people just got bad behavior. Okay, I get that part. Some people just think, different. I get that part. But just to classify a group of people as toxic, I just think, we're doing ourselves a disservice, right? So I want to put that in there. I want to put that in your parking lot. I want to park right there right now, right? We're doing each other a disservice by having these type of terminologies, just these generalized labels put on things, right? So you see a guy who got a little money, thinking I could go, and go and get, go overseas and get a wife, or go get a younger woman, go down to the Dominican and get one, or go wherever they go. You go get a younger wife. All right, that's his bag. No different than, I'll put this out in the parking lot here. No different than our mother Khadijah, radiallahu anha, when she married Prophet Muhammad. That's a 15-year difference. So was she a cradle robber? You see what I'm saying? We're gonna call that. So I see a woman who's, a younger man or whatever, in some instances, I feel that there might be some control issues that might be there, especially women who got the means and the younger guy doesn't. You know what I mean? If there's some control issues, situations there, sure, it is. I really do believe it is. Right? But that's still not my problem. That's not my problem. That's on them. And if they choose to do something like that, why are we giving this much attention to something like this? Why? Because the people who do it going to find the people who are going to be down with it. That's the real issue right there. We can talk about it all day, but it's not going to stop anything. You know, and the people who are not with it, they're not going to be with it. You know, if it's a younger woman who, and you know, depending on it, hey, Al Pacino is 50-something years older than his wife. They just had a kid maybe a year or so ago. 50-something, she was 28, he's 80-something, 83 years old. All right, Robert De Niro, I think he just did the same thing. Right? Ryan Isley done the same thing. Young women, that's still, you know what? Them women were down with it. They want to be, for whatever reason, they want it. You know what? They ain't got to play nurse because a lot of them cats who are a little bit older and they going for the younger women, they got pretty decent security. They got pretty decent healthcare coverage. You know, they can do a lot of things, and they can go get them a nurse to come in and take care of them. So that's the point y'all ain't looking at. Dudes ain't looking for somebody to just really take care of them. Right? Now, here's a real problem. That being some of other cats who, you know, I don't somebody who, how she gonna take care of me? You know. Now, here is the deal that I want to caution men with in this though. Because, you know, even though I look at some of these people and they have had longer relationships, they've been in relationships for a pretty long time, and they've done certain things to be in this relationship for a long time. Okay. And they have the means to do so. Sometimes, you know, it's not necessarily always that. You know, sometimes it is about the eye candy, holding something that you got on your arm. You know, somebody looking nice. You know what I mean? It's an ego thrill. It's an ego trip. Something along those lines makes you there. You know, and you know, you have those issues, right? I'm not gonna sit there and say that they're not there. You have people who are like that. But gentlemen, brothers, I want you to know something, because this is really why I'm having this conversation. I just brought all that other stuff out to really kind of get to this point right here. When you are in a relationship with a younger woman, when you go get a younger woman, have this understanding. She is going to grow up in the relationship. She's going to come into her full extension of a woman at some point. If she's 28, and I tell people all this a lot of times, give a woman 40 up or down 3 years, either at 37 or at 43, she started having this turn. There's really this turn that takes place. And she started really, you know, coming into what is her womanhood and certain things, and then she had these babies, and she done did this, she's done that, and I've seen this countless of many times, right? And what happens with certain men in this situation, and this is what I want to caution brothers about, more so than, you know, highlighting the double standard of women being able to do it and men getting castrated about doing it. I want you to know that you have to be able to be flexible with the idea that she's growing up. And you have to nurture that growing up, especially if you want to be in a position of keeping her. Now, I don't sit there and say, you know, play the Mr. Nice Guy role, because you're going to get ran over with the Mr. Nice Guy role. All right? You know, just this over-capitulating to anything and everything that she wants because you're trying to keep her because somebody else can see her and she can be attracted to somebody else. You know, if you're doing what you're supposed to do in the right way, you know, you shouldn't probably have no problems. I understand people are people. You know, people cheat for various different reasons. All right? So it is what it is. There's no monolith understanding of infidelity. Right? But I'm saying to you, or, you know, people leaving each other, right? There's no monolith understanding of why that happens, right? People do it for various reasons. you woke up one day and, you decided, I just don't want to be in this relationship no more. Or, somebody cooked the toast right, or whatever. There's various reasons, or this person's abusive or whatever. It's a multitude of reasons why people leave relationships, right? So we're not going to really just get caught into that. But I'm saying to my men, because I want you to go and get your young woman, if you can. And I'm going to introduce something that, I want y'all to understand now. I'm not promoting a particular thing. But I remember many years ago reading from Elijah Muhammad's, I think it was Message to the Black Man, his understanding of how a man should choose his woman. And when it came to age, it was half his age plus 7. So let's say a man is 50 years old. Half his age is 25 plus 7 is 32, right? So he should be looking for someone in that bracket. That was how he put it out. Okay, I'm just saying that was a formula that somebody used, right? I don't know what would be in some instances, I don't know what would be the commonalities that some, they say women mature faster than men, but that's a heck of a gap. You know what I mean? 20-some year gap. That's a heck of a gap, right? And so, and the only thing she can really benefit from him is, at that point, learning some things about life and being supported and taken care of, right? Which is something that men probably should be doing with their women anyway. I don't care how long they've been together, how old they may be, how young they may be, right? But to then go around saying, and brothers, I want you to stop doing this. Going around saying that a woman, our Black women got these problems and all this old type of stuff here, when what's the thing? They've been married several times. They got multiple kids. They got this and they got that and all this old type of stuff here. Brother, stop that, because, in a lot of instances, there's brothers who got kids out there who's older and who ain't been, they decide to get hitched up or whatever, and they have promoted. If you done dealt with multiple women, you ain't cuffed one, before this, and you haven't, then you have been a part of the problem. All right. If you didn't take the responsibility of marrying a woman, taking that woman under your house, taking care of children, taking care of your children, all up under that. And sometimes, okay, it might break up, y'all might break up or whatever. But if you done went around and you just been sleeping around and you've been kicking it, you've been doing it, and Muslims do it too. I know some who do it. And in some instances, some of you women have made it easy for them to do it, right? Because you sit there and talk all this nonsense online, but you be the first one to be in when somebody hits your DM, you be the first one responding. Don't get it twisted. So some of you are a little parched out there. You're a little thirsty. All right, real talk. So you made it easy for some of these dudes to be who they are. They're still accountable for their actions, but you made it easy. All right. So, but brothers, quit doing all this talking about these women they bad off, they this, they that, they doing this, because you have contributed to that demise. Just like these women have contributed to some of the stuff that men are doing, you men have contributed to it. And we have to be in a position that we have to Get Made podcast. We are all about the manhood, accountability, development, and enrichment. Right? Building manhood, demanding accountability, promoting development, and providing tools for enrichment. Right? That's what we do at the Get Made podcast. And I'm saying to a lot of my brothers, I'll let somebody else talk to the women. I just wanted to illustrate the double standard to a lot of the women who may be on my podcast, who check out my podcast, and then I want you to be able to really just say, hey, you know what? I hear you, Brother Hassan. You know what I mean? And just check yourselves and check your sisters. You know what I mean? Just check your sisters. I'm checking my brothers. I'm trying to bring my brothers up. I'm straightening the crown of my brothers. Well, you need to straighten the tiara of your sisters. And so I'm sitting here saying that when we are in a position of doing something different, then let's do something different. Now, if you choose to be in a relationship with a younger woman because that's your preference, then by all means. And if you can do it, then by all means, go on and do it. Because real talk, there's somebody out there for you. If you're 59, 58, 52, 61, and it's a 30-something-year-old woman they ain't got no problem with hollering at you, or you hollering at her, and she like your style. I ain't gonna get into what her adjustment, daddy issues, and all that might be. She may not even have them. She might just like how you roll. It can be just that simple. She like your style, and she don't want to deal with no younger man. There's a bunch of women out there who feel like, or younger women who feel like younger dudes are silly. They have no maturity, and they would rather deal with a man who was older. And so it is what it is in that. Just like Tracy Ellis Ross said that she didn't want to deal with older men because of the control factors and all this whole type of stuff. And they were stuck in their mindset. Right? They were stuck in their mindset. Okay, she has a preference. She's entitled to a preference. But I'm saying to you, brothers, quit getting caught up, man, talking about these women like that. You're adding to the confusion. You're adding to that confusion. We're talking about these women like that. There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with all of us. We're in America, really. We're in the United States of America. There's something wrong with all of us. All of us have been indoctrinated with some idiotic stuff. All right? All of us have been given some real foolishness. And they keep promoting even more of this foolishness on social media. And they want you to do that. And the more you tune into it, the higher the algorithms go, and the more it gets promoted out there to it. So something like, here or some other things that's speaking a little bit more sense to a situation, not really going to get the pull like it, but we reach who we reach. But that nonsense, that people who talking foolishly and all this old type of stuff with the gimmicks and all that type of stuff, algorithms go up. And you know why the algorithms go up? Because you're tuning into it. You're commenting, you're doing this, you're doing that. The stuff go up. They see, it went viral and all this old type of stuff here. And somebody's been tainted. That's how that game goes. So, saying to everybody here, what can we do differently? One, we have to get out of this thing about the gender wars. We have to get out of this men looking at women crazy, women looking at men crazy. Because you want to know something that's real crazy about all this? Black folks are the only one who really doing it. There ain't white people going up like that. You don't hear Hispanics going out there like that. It might be some, but they ain't really doing it that loud. That's us. We're doing all that hollering, cursing, showing out, all this whole type of stuff. That's us. You know what I mean? And we keep making stuff viral. That's us. The people who spend the most money in this economy, they say the African American community is the 9th richest community in the world. So that means we spend a lot of money, but we do a lot of things too that people keep advertising to us. Why? Because they want that money. And when they start pushing up these algorithms on certain things like this and have you keep looking at each other crazy, they ain't doing nothing but trying to get at their paper. That's really what they're trying to do, get at that paper. And you helping them. But in the same token, you're tearing down your community. There's somebody for everybody out here. So brothers, we have to be in a position of how do we then stop this? One, you have to kind of just monitor how we are engaging online and engaging with each other. We have to watch how we are engaging. We have to quit promoting the dumb stuff. We really have to. I'm not going to sit there and come up with a whole bunch of problems, not give you some solutions. We have to do something a little different. For those of us who have been, sometimes there's labels that's out there that just get overused. Who's been, who is experiencing trauma? I'm going to use that word there. Everybody love that word trauma, right? But for those of us who had some bad experiences in life, get some help. And don't get that help, to thinking that, you're going to be, don't get that false help that's building you up to be, this incredible, whatever, I'm every man, I'm every woman, hear me roar type of joint. You know what I mean? No, lay for that. Be realistic about what it is that you got going on. Look at your faults and look at what you have allowed yourself to get caught up in. Look at what you have learned and what you have been conditioned with, and then find the behaviors that would counteract that. Unlearn some behaviors and learn new behaviors. That's what needs to take place. That's men and women. But I got to talk to my brothers right now, because one of the things, we're passive aggressive in this game. And we are allowing situations to feed. We're allowing this nonsense to feed, right? And so I want you to know, if you can be in a position of just course correcting you. In this instance, I'm just saying, for men, we got to kind of step up to the plate. We got to course correct. Quit all this, player mentality stuff. Hey, Muslim, I understand. Polygyny is a real thing. You be responsible about it. You ain't gonna be perfect, but be responsible about it. No relationship is perfect. Be responsible about it. Do the very best you can to be responsible about it. And if that's the case, if a woman is with it, then she's with it. If she's not, to try to shame her into doing something, don't try to shame a situation. Stop that. Because that's what's feeding this stuff. Because that shaming is only the way they're coming off is just a counteraction to shaming. The shaming that's taking place. That's them just counteracting that. If you throw a punch, they counteract it with a punch. Y'all know what it is. Boxing, you throw a jab, somebody throw the jab right behind the jab. You're just counteracting your punch. They're going to counterpunch you to death. And that's what's taking place. Because real talk, there's too many of them on here, and they're loud. Okay, it's loud. There's too many of them on here. And who's going to look like the bad guy? It's going to be you. It's going to be real about that. It's going to be you. So it's loud. But this is how you get out of that. You pull back from it. You don't indulge in it. You hear somebody talking foolish? Let them talk. Because at some point, they're only going to be talking to each other. And real talk, let me tell y'all something real. Young woman or older woman, if you step to the right woman, and yeah, she might be in the crowd and someone, but you come and step in her, she will pull out of that crowd and get in your program. Real talk. She will pull out that crowd and get in your program. You just got to make sure your program correct. Some women sit there and, man, I never would think about it. But you know what? I might try that with you. All right? It's just going to be real with it. You just got to be about your program. I don't say your program won't be perfect. I'm just saying it's going to be your program. You got to have a program. Have a program. But let's do it. Let's stop this feeding. Let's stop feeding the machine, man. Brothers, stop feeding the machine. You got a lot of people who out there who, upset, bitter, and some people are, using that. There's some people who are really upset and bitter. Some women who are very upset and bitter. You got some women who are using that, to get, clout chasing in a sense. Clickbaits and all this little type of stuff here. They're doing that. And, but you as a man, like the real talk, you know, you do what you gotta do. You can get beyond that. Don't get caught up in it. And don't even be talking about it like that in, you know, to them, you know, this is foolish, this is that. Just recognize it for what it is, knowing that, like, you know, this is just more of a situation that's trying to tear us down. And this is how we need to build up for that. Show your program. Show your program. Let her be down with it. All right. This was live. I'm appreciative of you checking me out. And inshallah, I've got some guests coming in the next couple of weeks. We got the program going on in Baltimore, the Muslim Wellness Summit, building community through faith, family, and fulfillment. You know, of course, I got my brother Shadeed Muhammad and Imam Shadeed Muhammad and Imam Akil Ingram. They're going to be on the program. I have my sister Sharon A. Davis and my sister Kendra Camilla Shabazz. They're going to be on, and a host of other people. Sister Islam Abdul Rahman, Baltimore educator, fabulous educator. Let's say doctor, because that's where she's at. That's the level she's at. It's doctor. It's Abdul Rahman, right? And so it's going to be fabulous. We're going to have some real engagement going on. It's going to be vendors there. It's going to be, of course, I'm going to be there. I've got a couple of other people I'm actually trying to pull in to see if they can run. I don't want to make no announcements yet on that one, but it's going to be June 20th to 21st. You can check it out. You can get your ticket at HassanClay.net. You know, it's on our event tab there. For vendors, you can pay there. For attendance of both days, you can pay there as well. I got a book signed in Rome, Georgia. You know, hometown down here in Georgia, Rome, Georgia. For all my people up in Rome, I'm coming. I'm doing a book signing up there with my book. And of course, I can check my book out. It's called Tame the Storm: Understanding and Overcoming High Conflict Personalities for a Peaceful Life. It's 1997. You know, of course, it's on Amazon, but you actually can buy the book from me. You know, but for those of us who like the ebook, you know, some electronic stuff, you can actually go get that at Amazon as well, right? And I haven't set up the thing for it to be bought from me yet, but I'm trying to, right? So with that, Rome, I'm coming up. It's going to be May 17th at I think her name is Jazzy T, something like that. You know, I know the sister name is Natalie, who owns the restaurant out there on Redmond Road. I think she's out there on Redmond Road. So I'm going to be there. Check it out. She got some good food out there from what I hear. So, you know, it's free to come in. You got to buy the food there, of course. Of course, the book is going to be there for sold, and we're going to talk about some extra chapters of the book. So, by all means, please come out and support. Please come out and support. Please come out and support. Continue to subscribe. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel at the Get Made Podcast. And of course, follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Try to build this Instagram page up. So yeah, y'all start following me on Instagram at the Hassan Clay Experience. Also on TikTok at the Hassan Clay Experience. I've been having some nice little reels and everything coming out. It's been building. It's slowly but surely coming up. So, you know, it's going in a direction. It's going in the right direction. That's a beautiful thing. And I can just only say thank you to those of you who have supported me in that, for allowing that to go in that direction. And for those of you who are going to come on board, I want to say thank you again, you know, because without you, there's no me in this space right here. So with that, I'm going to end this live, and we're going to see you next week on Monday at 7 p.m. here at the Get Made Podcast. All right, y'all have a great night.